All right, we discussed previously, and if you're a main show viewer, this will be our last segment of the day. If you're a producer and you're counting, we will wrap up here today. We discussed previously that Trump, as we saw in the clip that Benny covered, was scheduling a meeting, another summit with Vladimir Putin in Budapest. And there's historical significance there. And Levitt was asked about, why'd you pick, who suggested Budapest? She said, your mom did, literally. And then it was kind of in the works. All right, they're going to have this meeting. Well, the meeting has been canceled. And this is happening in front of an interesting contextual backdrop, which is Trump is again 180. 180ing. You understand what I'm saying? He's flipping. And he's switching his stance again on Ukraine. When he acted like rhetorically that he was going to be more supportive, then he had reportedly a screaming match, as we covered, with Zelensky, saying that Putin will destroy you if you don't just give him the land he's taken already and call it quits, even though that wouldn't end the war. That would just be something for Putin to use to further invade from. And that going back on everything Trump had previously said, cursing all the time, it's actually not a war, it's a special operation, which is like not just something you would hear in the Kremlin. It's like if you went into the Kremlin and climbed up Putin's butt, that's where you would hear it. It's so deep Russian propaganda that I don't even hear them saying that very often. So it's just a special operation, not a war, he's now saying as he's screaming at Zelensky. So within that context, he then cancels his meeting, apparently because even in his new mindset of being once again sympathetic to Putin, still the demands are too ludicrous. Okay, well then take back your shouting of Zelensky, because it's clearly not him who's the problem in this war coming to an end. Here's Ryan Macbeth.
So it looks like President Trump is not going to be meeting with President Putin.
This popped up on Ground News about 30 minutes ago, and Reuters is reporting this.
Now, there's not a lot of information as to why the summit was called off, but here's my theory. Russia's economy is super overheated right now. Inflation's at about 10% or so. Other sources say it could be around 20%. The only thing keeping Russia's economy alive right now is oil production and war spending. The moment you turn off that war spending, people are going to be out of work, and that's how you end up upside down over a gas station, or you get the Ceausescu special. Now, the good news to all this is that Russia's economy could collapse anyway. It costs them $45 to pull a barrel of oil out of the ground.
Oil is at $57 a barrel.
So Russia's getting $12 in profit for every barrel of oil they sell. That works out to like $66 million or so dollars a day, which is fine. But if you're spending more than that, that's a big problem. So it could be good news that this summit is off, because Ukraine cannot be forced into a position where they have to give up land.
And agree to a meaningless peace agreement that would just be the lifesaver that the Russian government needs right now. I might have time to look more into and give you a fuller breakdown, but the quick summary for this segment is they are headed towards a really rough spot economically, and they're already in one that is putting pressure on the Russian government. And there was this artificial sense that the Russian economy was doing all right because of juicing it up, again, artificially, because of war spending, that war economic juice. But that's running out, but they're still having to spend all that money. But it's not overly inflating the perceived strength of the economy. And there's a lot of negative ramifications heading their way, inflation being one of them. And so what would Putin absolutely love right now? Getting the land he's already taken and getting a few-year break to recover and prepare for further invasion. What would cause a more lasting end to this? The economic problems keep getting worse for him. He keeps struggling to find ways to fund the war. Ukraine continues putting up a strong defense. And in a weakened position where he's at risk of being toppled, he then has to agree to a lasting peace agreement with security guarantees that give NATO-like protections to Ukraine so that forever this can't happen again. So his manipulation of Trump right now is not because he's just Putin. He can do whatever he wants, and he's comfortable, and he's in a tough spot. And Ukraine's putting up a shockingly stunning, effective defense, and he gets that, and he's seeing the problems for his own rule as the Russian economy gets worse and as this starts to spiral. A European diplomat briefed on the meeting between Trump and Zelensky described it as a mess and said Trump also went on and on about his grievances of not having gotten the Nobel Peace Prize. He's sitting, think of how sick this is. He's sitting across the table from a guy whose country's being massacred and throwing a pity party for not getting some award, a peace award, as Zelensky's still at war. Whew. Trump-Putin summit in Budapest now on hold after Rubio-Lavrov call. So I guess Marco Rubio with Lavrov didn't go well, and they realized they're still so far apart, even with Trump's newfound position on his knees in relation to Putin. And then you have Russian state TV saying, ha ha ha, Donald is so easy to manipulate. Please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It is free, but it supports what we're doing here.
And good evening, I'm Erin Burnett on this Monday. Out front tonight, Putin's puppet. That is how Russian state media is portraying Trump tonight after the...
Thank you so much. I was so upset in this segment. We had such a fun show so far, and I got really upset, and that just made it all better. President Trump tonight.
That's how Russian state media is portraying Trump tonight.
And she didn't correct it. You're amazing. You're amazing. That's so good. Okay, Trump.
Russian state media is portraying Trump tonight.
Yes.
After the president did another complete 180.
Not as good as his own press secretary.
President Trump.
Yeah, President Trump, but still good. I do love Erin Burnett. Let's go.
When it comes to the war in Ukraine, this time after that 2.5-hour phone call, which Putin requested. Trump is now, once again, after that call, coming to Putin's defense, telling Zelensky in a meeting that reportedly turned into a shouting match that Putin would destroy his country if he didn't agree to ending the war on Putin's terms. Even tossing aside maps like this one showing the front lines of the war, saying enough of that. Now, this is according to the new explosive reporting from the Financial Times' Max Seddon, a regular here on the show who will be out front in just a moment. But in Moscow tonight, it's a celebration of Trump's once again backing Putin. And it doesn't get more direct than this. I mean, just listen to this clip from Russian state TV that was uncovered by journalist Julia Davis.
Putin understands Trump all too well. Trump doesn't understand Putin. Putin can manipulate him very well and lead Trump by his nose.
Yeah. Sorry, there was just something funny that happened while the clip was playing. So, I mean, how scary is that? Russian state TV saying explicitly, Putin can manipulate Trump. Trump can't manipulate Putin, but Putin can manipulate Trump, which is exactly what he's doing. Then you have Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger showing off his new shirts, which these are cool. I like them. I'm gonna be honest. I pulled this clip because I thought there might be something funny I could riff off of with his pecs being very good, but I kind of lost my silly mood over the rage of this topic. But great pecs. Those will probably help the selling of the shirts is kind of what I was thinking of.
Hey, question. Do you think that Ukraine is better than Russia? Of course you...
I think your pecs are better than mine. Ukraine is much better than Russia, thank you.
...do, unless you're an insane psychopath. But listen, there's no better way to show people what you think than to wear it on a shirt or a hat or something like that. So go to wearthemoutproducts.com. This is an option. There's a whole bunch of other stuff like 3 branches, no kings. Wear Them Out Products is all about defending free.
So I guess I'm just doing a shirt promo. That was kind of... Sometimes, guys, you saw we're now coming on a 2-hour show today. Sometimes I'm prepping and I throw something and I go, I might be able to do something with that. And I forget to return back to it and decide what I'm going to do with it. So I was like, I don't know, something shirt, Ukraine pecs. I don't know. But I do. Adam Kinzinger's a stud with that shirt. And I love his advocacy for Ukraine. And if you don't want to get his shirts, you can get mine. So that's the connection. LukeFeasleyMerch.com. Get yourself a tote bag. Get yourself a mug. Get yourself a shirt. Get yourself a bucket hat, normal hat, whatever type of hat, a sweater. That's our logo. Rep it loud, rep it proud. That's today's show.